Hi. I bet some of y'all are here because you wonder who's this crazy lady. Who is this crazy lady? I've made a few comments on a channel that I'm intrigued with. As an ex-Christian, I've got a couple of channels that I watch because they, they delve in deep, and you have some Christians talking, and you have some flat-out atheists talking that don't believe in any kind of God, any kind of supernatural God, but rather they just seem to enjoy, going after the Christians, the Christian religion, the people that believe in the Christian God. And I find myself in this situation where I'm sort of the odd man out, and there's a few others I've noticed. We're not Christians, and we're not atheists. But I think I made myself really the odd man out today because the subject of flat earth, quote unquote, flat earth came up. And I happened to not subscribe or ascribe, I don't know the word. Ascribe? I question cosmology that we've been taught in school. And I'm way past anybody being able to make me feel stupid over it. Because I actually know how to do math, which is what a lot of it is what made me question a whole lot of it in the first place. I do understand sound has to move through an ether, something. There has to be something that it moves through. I do understand, and I'm referring to transmissions and things. If NASA is actually getting transmissions from some kind of satellite, it's not moving through a vacuum. I think I'm not the only one that's come up with that. It's just so much to get into, but I got into a conversation today just by stating a fact of the globe model, that we were taught that how big the earth is in circumference, and that we're taught, this isn't something flat earthers say, this is what we're taught, okay, that the rotation speed of the earth is 1,037 miles per hour at the equator. Of course, it's different because as you move up in the latitude, there's not as much distance to cover, that's mind-boggling in of itself, and you're keeping a constant, and you're calling the rotation, the reason the earth spins is that's why we have gravity. And yet, as you go up from the equator, either north or south, there's less circumference, so the speeds can't be the same. It's just, it's really mind-boggling when you really dig down deep in the math of it. So I just made a little simple statement that, given the globe model, we actually are rotating at the speed of 1,520 feet per second, which is the same thing as saying 1,037 miles per hour. And there are people making comments or replies to my comment that have a problem with me stating facts that they are taught in school. I'm not telling you anything your teacher didn't tell you, but for some reason when it comes out of my mouth, it sounds absolutely preposterous. What do you mean you think we're moving at 1,520 feet per second? That's crazy. Well, no, it's not. That's what they want you to believe. Excuse me. They want you to believe that, okay? You've accepted that ever since you learned about this little globe model. And yet they have a problem? And I'm being unreachable? Because I'm just telling you what it says. And what's happening is you're saying, no way, we're literally moving at 1,520 feet per second. Because I don't feel it, well, I don't feel that spin. No, we don't. We don't feel it and we don't see it. Because that is like way past hurricane force speed and winds and resistance. And then somebody called me a genius because, like, I didn't know that the atmosphere spanned with the Earth. You know, I, I, can you imagine? Okay, if we're, okay, just try to think what I'm saying here. At a 24,000 mile radius, that is actually having to spin 1,037 miles per hour to get a, like if my thumb is a point, there's my thumb on the point of that ball. Well, 1,000 miles per hour because it's 24,901 miles around it. So my little point here, if I start here and want to get back here and go all the way around one rotation, it's going to take me 24 hours to travel that 24, well, that's 1,037 miles per hour, okay? That's what it is. That's what it is. You can't get around it. And you've been tried to be shown in your physics class and your, and when you're a little kid, and this is before you get to high school. You go back and remember your grade school lessons. Before you ever get to high school, you have already been convinced that you are spinning 1,000 miles per hour and that somehow that creates gravity and you're stuck to this world. All the birds and the butterflies flutter around and the clouds move any direction they want. All the while, this tremendous force of 1,000 miles per hour rotation is going around. It's holding you down to the surface. Well, you may think that sounds crazy because when you really start to think about it, you're like, why did I swallow that stuff? It's like, no. And people get real mad at me because they assume that all flat earthers are Christian who swallowed a gulp. No, sorry, burst your bubble. It took me a long time, but I finally became unindoctrinated, according to what that Jeffrey Daugherty, he likes to say. Unindoctrinated. Okay, that's what I am. But y'all got to realize something. Who do you think set up the education system all across the world? Who set up the universities? Well, do some research. Do some research on how all this academia stuff was set up in the first place, and do some research who backed Copernicus in the first place. Okay? This very church that you people think that you're so smart because you didn't fall gullible to the teachings of this very church is the same thing. They're the same people that put out these teachings about this cosmology globe model. Okay? So just realize that, well, number one, if I make a comment about something, I love people responding. I love to be able to go back and forth with them. I don't mean anything that I say. Sometimes I realize that I just spit things out because I'm just so eager to say something. And I really don't mean to make people feel like I think they're dumb, because how can I do that? Because I'm like 50-something years old before I'm like thinking about all this stuff. And if I've got to, it doesn't matter. If you're just now coming around to even considering this stuff or asking about it, the fact is we're having a discussion about it. And the more we talk about it, I think that if you'll just open yourself up, you'll realize that people who question the cosmology that we've been taught have legitimate reasons for questioning it. They're not dumb people. They're people that have actually taken the time to think about things. They're the people that didn't want to accept everything they were told. That's all it is. They're people that want to find out things for themselves. And then they get to looking and thinking, well, this doesn't make very much sense. Okay? And there's a whole lot of stuff to talk about when you get into thinking about perhaps our cosmology is not what they tell us it is. It is not as simple as, oh, you're a flat earther. No, it's way more deeper. It's way deeper than that. And as far as aliens and things go, I believe people. I believe they've seen these things called UFOs and these little gray men or whatever. There's too many people. There's too many people that have had those types of experiences. But are they from a galaxy, 500 million light years away or whatever? Or are they interdimensional beings that have technologies, the interdimensional technologies? Okay? It's entirely possible that that's what it is. So don't be so quick to dismiss people because they don't accept what academia taught them. You were smart enough to figure out that you didn't accept what the church taught you, especially these atheists that I'm talking to. You were smart enough to figure that out. I give you credit for that. You figured it out before I did. I figured that out finally. I figured that out first. And then I figured out the other part. Like, oh my gosh, what else? What else is not quite what they told me it was, okay? You're not dumb or stupid or ignorant because you question what's being handed to you on a silver platter. You should always question what's being handed to you on a silver platter. Now, maybe I made sense and maybe I didn't, and I'll come back and talk about this some more because I really would like to. But for right now, I'm going to say bye. I'll talk to you later.